right, another episode of Soul Bros with the Dazed Ducks. I'm your host, Ryfi Crypto Guy, and I just want to get to know the Dazed Ducks a little bit better. I wanted to ask you guys, who are you, and why did you get involved in NFTs?
Well, I guess I'll kick things off and then we can go around the room. My name's Tastic, aka Zach. Manage a lot of the marketing and community behind the Dazed Ducks, and just also assist Sean a lot in the general direction as well as with Guava and Sash. Um, Raised in Antigua, educated in the US, spent some time working in the ad industry up there as well as in the marketing industry with some other companies, and really just decided to come back to Antigua to see, how I could make a difference, and done a few things down here over the last few years, and then stumbled upon Sean and Guava getting involved in the NFT space, which kind of in coincided with me getting involved at the same time, more from a trader standpoint, and just was really amused by how people were using the space and what was going on, and just the volume of traffic through the space and the potential for building brands, building businesses. So when I saw Guava and Sean, who I've known, for a long time, getting involved in the space, I reached out to them and said, "Hey, I'd like to be a part of the team."
Sean, could you speak a little bit more on how you guys got started?
Personally, I've been in the crypto scene since kind of early 2016, I'd say. And that was just kind of the introduction into the space in general. And then when this NFT boom kind of started, when was it? 2021, I would say, the first kind of big wave came through. With Bored Ape Yacht Club. So that kind of got my attention. I was like, okay, this is an interesting space because it combines this crypto decentralized space, as well as the online business space, which I've been in for, I think, close to 12 years now, trying different business ventures and have finally found success about 3, 4 years ago. And then kind of when all of these meshed together, I thought, wow, this is a perfect opportunity. There's an amazing local artist here. There's a bunch of local talent. Let's bring a team together and try and make something happen. And then it kind of falls into my role as well, as far as just kind of making sure that we're all connected and all on the same path. Moving towards this greater goal of ours. And I knew Guava's artwork through various social medias. I've actually never met him in person, but that day I just hit up his Instagram. He sent me his number, gave him a call, and I was like, "Yo, have you heard of NFTs?" And it kicked off from there. We started with just one of ones on Rarible, and Guava will tell you that in more detail. But then eventually, we finally made the decision to go for the collection, and then we were fortunate enough to come across Zach and Sash to help take things to the next level.
I love that, Sean. And Guava, what was that like having one of just somebody kind of hitting you up from Antigua and telling you that NFTs are the future, man, and you're going to be able to kick some serious tush here?
Well, um, at first when he hit me up, I thought he was Canadian, because he hit me up from Canada, and then after that, I said, "All right, cool." I saw him. He was following me for some time on Instagram, and he's a bit of a wild man, and he likes to, make moves. So I put my trust in him, and then we went from there. We decided to use the duck because the duck was a hot selling character from my list of characters that I continuously paint or draw or whatever. So Dazed Duck itself was a character I was selling in the store, and I told them, if we're gonna do this, let's use the duck because he's a hot seller, and number two, he's a triple threat. He's a
I love
land
that.
animal, he's a air animal, and he's also a water animal.
It's cool that you just kind of got approached by it and it jumped right in and had kind of your own image. That's what's so cool about NFTs is people being able to relate and um, enjoy the characteristics and all the different things that you're drawing. That is such a powerful tool. So really appreciate your art, Guava, and it's a pleasure getting to watch you guys kind of create what you are doing. And one man kind of helps put up some of that framework too. So I did want to hear from Sash and what it's like kind of creating on Web3 and your intro into the Dazed Ducks.
Cool, bro. So I actually got approached by Sean, and that's after he'd already done the discovery with Guava and launching the individual one of ones, and then deciding on the big collection. And initially, Sean actually more so approached me because of my connects in the tech industry. So I was heading up a design development department for a fintech startup in UK. So I had the connects with developers there. So hit me up one day for that. I said, "Cool, let me get back to you." And then next day, he hit me up again saying, "Oh, can you do like UX UI? Can you do this and this?" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, like do all that stuff." So that's when he was like, "Oh, do you want to join the team and help build this out?" I said, "Yeah," and then managed to pull in a whole development team that I'd worked with in the past before launching digital products in the financial space. And then yeah, first time sort of building something for Web3, which was really exciting to get in on the Web3 space. It's had its challenges for sure, but I think like everyone else in this space, we're learning, developing, adding new skill sets, bringing people in when we need to bring people in, and just pushing forward. So I'm pretty excited for what's to come.
It makes me wonder, was the only degen or true degen Sean at the time of like, hey, this is Web3 and you guys need to check it out.
For me, I'd been in crypto from about 2017. I guess you could say that the last wave before this one that just passed. I have a feeling Zach was too, but Sean is definitely the most degen I think out of all of us.
I don't think, degen in the sense of the NFT space, but yeah, versed in the crypto space, he is that warrior that we all kind of look to for guidance and always tends to shock us. But my experiences prior kind of were along those lines. It was more from that trader perspective, trying to flip and just kind of understanding like when I get enthused about something, I like to dive headfirst into the deep end and just like go down the rabbit hole and explore all aspects of it, good and bad, and see what people are doing for that opportunity, right? And I got exposed to a lot of that, good and bad, and grinding in discords, ending up with a shitload of rug pull NFTs, and just kind of that alone was what. Oh yeah, all the NFTs other than my ducks that I held previously were just like rugs. I had no luck. I passed on all the big ones, but I watched very closely what everybody was doing, how they were using the space and the opportunities that existed. And sometimes you'll hear, the rest of the team say that initially the attempt was just to really sell the art. And I brought this whole idea of a DAO to the table that now has us where we are. But I think that's something to be proud of. It's innovative. It's a space that the Caribbean isn't too involved in. So I'm glad, even if people still call us degens, that we're here blazing a trail. And I couldn't do it without these other guys.
You hit on a really important part too, is like just even just saying selling the art. We saw something incredible happen last week with the OK Bears and how the idea of a brand can explode and make a price go crazy. And I think that you guys have that potential of your brand, of the incredible art that you guys bring. Everything that you do is really clean. You guys have great like kits for marketing and all that stuff. I love to see that kind of stuff. And what I'm wondering now is because you guys are kind of becoming full Web3 with this do Soul Gems thing, and maybe not Web3, but it's kind of the Solana has been doing this where now we're staking and getting a like Soul Gem or an SPL 15 coin. And I'm wondering, what is that like for you guys? And what do you dream about when you think of Soul Gems, and what could it be in the future? And what do you have in like what's going to happen soon?
Sure. Sean, you want to take a first stab at that and then I can jump in after?
Yeah, sure. So I think what's really unique with the approach that we're going with, and Soul Gems kind of ties it all together, is this entire brand ecosystem that we're wanting to build out. Um, and yes, it's a pretty big, feat to take on, um, which is why right now we're just so strongly focused on building the foundation for what's to come. What's really interesting and unique about it is all of these different ventures that we want to create, have them interconnected primarily through soul gems, and just how much value that can bring to the table and to the entire Solana ecosystem.
It's kind of like that missing link, like that umbrella over everything that we had initially roadmapped. And, ideally, we would have loved to have just kept operating on Solana, but for a number of reasons, not even anymore just regulatory, also kind of how the space operates and what the community expects. That isn't the most feasible route to go. So, introducing this Soul Gems rewards program or protocol, as we've kind of branded it, acts as like that umbrella that links everything that we want to do. And Dazed Ducks in itself has its own brand power, as well as Soul Games and Soul Ads will in the future, these ventures that we've roadmapped. But Soul Gems kind of is that link. And then each one of them still has the ability to kind of stand as their hero brand, being powered by, and this phrase we may actually tweak a little bit because Sean and I have been going back and forth on that, but being powered by, in a sense, Soul Gems and this protocol. And it's also an opportunity for us to set an example for other collections. The intention of this program, right, is to be able to have other collections use it too. So Dazed Ducks is kind of like that example. This is how it works. We're showing you what we're doing with, what we're generating as an ecosystem and how we're linking into this program and offering value to the Soul Gem holders. It also gives the Dazed Duck members the opportunity to kind of be first to market in this sort of marketplace that may come, as well as also join the DAO early on. So I'm excited to see what's going on there and how it rolls out. But like Sean said, focusing now on structure from a brand perspective, especially seeing like OK Bears, the potential is there. It's obvious that we just need the assistance in kind of how we present to the public, how we present to the press, and how we kind of maintain that amongst everything that we do now and in the future. Building this foundation is critical. That's why we brought on a PR team to build out different brand books for each of the different individual ventures, including the DDMC. They'll kind of give us a refresh. And in that, it's just really structuring how all the iconography and text and imagery work and all the different assets can be used. And then they'll do the same for Soul Gems, Soul Ads, and Soul Games. So it's pretty critical that we brought on a team like that.
And what is it that you can use Soul Gems on like right away?
So the initial utility is one of Sean's concepts. That's pretty common, but we're trying to take a new twist on it. Sean, do you want to talk a bit about the raffle house and auction house?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, the first major utility for it, very similar to what a lot of other collections are doing and what kind of DeGods brought to the table, is an auction place. And I mean, we haven't spilt the alpha on it yet, but you can already guess what the name's going to be based on all the other kind of, let's say, soul branding we have. But the concept there is going to be actually an auction place, but the style of the auctions will not be how any other project is doing it. Is actually a way more captivating, a way more gamified way of auctioning, as well as providing more value than just other NFTs, providing in real life value, such as gift cards that can get you gas, food, accommodation, flights, to provide again that in real life value with this unique twist of an auction house, which we're really excited to release. And yeah, so that would be like the first major utility for it. And then obviously within the collection itself, added bonuses. If when the females come along, of course you're going to need soul gems as well. I hear females love their gems.
From a collection standpoint, we can set the examples of how to use soul gems within your collection. There's so many different ways. We did this recent airdrop, of these joints that were phrased as gears and goodies, and that name also is going to be released kind of on brand in a sense. But now the interaction with these utility tools that they're going to transform into is going to involve soul gems in a few different ways. It allows us a lot of flexibility. In the future, in the current model, right, we would have to kind of depend on Solana as well as transaction fees, which are minimal, yes, but you can't do things where you could like burn a bunch of Solana in exchange for um, another NFT or something like that. This using a token like Soul Gems allows us to do that within the collection. One utility though that we did kind of not touch on but not go into detail on is going to be this Soul Gems DAO, which is just pretty much governance as well. So Soul Gems holders will have a say in the collections that are onboarded into that program, and kind of how we have to adjust circulating supplies to onboard these collections. If they're bringing in quite a bit of volume, that needs to be considered. So those are kind of the immediate utilities that you can get right off the bat. And then I expect, the developers on the protocol, in a sense, to start creating d-apps, I guess, or games, and you kind of look to the other collections that get onboarded and say, wow, there's this huge supply, it's uncapped, I can give it easily to all my members, so now let me start building out some other things that they can go and use it for. And that kind of becomes universal. It doesn't always have to be specific just to your collection holders too. It could be open to all the soul gem holders. You touched on it earlier, right? You called it the apparel and merchandise venture, and it's exactly that. It's a venture. It's got quite a bit of overhead, and a large capital investment from the Dazed Ducks to produce this line of, I think, like 13 different designs with several different colorways within each. It came out to almost like 6,000 pieces in total in this collection alone. And we kind of realized midway that there is a huge undertaking in this industry too. So it is a venture in itself, and that's why there is this sort of overhead starting in USDC. I mean, we touched a lot on Soul Gems, so I think we could move into the merchandise venture in a little bit. But I wanted to also add to Sean's Soul Gems discount. When we reopen the store, we intend to still maintain a holder discount, not 20%, but still something pretty valuable.
And how does Soul Games help you guys create an experience for your audience and people that are involved, and generate revenue? I guess ultimately is the hopefully the end goal.
Jump straight into it. I think one of the biggest opportunities that Soul Games has is to bring together the gaming community in this NFT space, which is pretty big, and growing rapidly, into a central location where you'll find all of these games. But that can take a little time for us to get to that level. To begin with, now it's still the central location where we host kind of the more popular games that have been around for years and have been really popular, in the mobile app stores. But this time, it's one of the first times that you can actually play to earn crypto with. And our revenue models,
Or play to win.
well, yeah, play to win. And we've got two revenue models, which one is the in-game purchases. And in-game purchases currently is users needing to purchase the in-game currency to enter the competitions that will be, hosted on a daily, uh, uh, as well as revenue coming in from advertisement. Because we also want to give the opportunity to someone that perhaps cannot afford to enter these competitions to be able to watch ads, to earn these credits, to enter competitions, to hopefully win, and build and kind of stack up their earnings in that way. So yeah, two revenue models which are very popular in the mobile gaming industry already right now, which are yeah in app purchases, in game purchases, as well as advertisements.
I think it fits your guys' brand too. I mean, I've seen some of your poker nights. I've kind of jumped into the chat before, and I'm not a huge bit Discord guy, but I definitely recognize that you guys have a very active community, or we have a very active community, and it's really cool. And I think it is an extension of the community too. So it's exciting what you guys are doing. I love the Soul Gems, Soul Games, Soul ads, so that there's already a piece right there, right?
Yeah, exactly. It kind of sets that foundation. But building on the brand experience that I think we can provide with Soul Games is again, it's a bit like Soul Gems, where by positioning it outside of the Dazed Ducks collection, we then can show other collections how you can interact with it as a community. At first, yeah, as Sean said, it'll have, just the more popular Web 2 games that we're familiar with seeing, but in the future it could easily lead. The code is there, the skill set is there to skin games for each collection, with benefits for their holders specifically, and we'll test that out as the Dazed Ducks after getting version 1 up. I mean, the beta testing experience has been amazing in terms of the feedback we're getting. People are grinding through games. When I see people complaining about, their levels resetting because they reached like level 62, like, how the hell do you guys have time to play this long? Like, I get to play one round.
So I was gonna say one other bit as well, which was like more of a strategic play with this, is as both Sean and Zach mentioned, doing games that are similar to ones you'll see in Web 2 already, is instead of just going full Web3, which a lot of collections are trying to do, and just tackling the Web3 community, is using those Web2 games to start off with. We can bring in people who are not familiar with Web3, who don't have crypto, who don't have NFTs.
But yeah, I mean, building on Sasha's point, I agree 100% that, that's kind of why, again, branding it as Soul Games versus, for instance, in the future, Days Ducks games, it just, for the old lady that's used to playing Candy Crush on her phone and maybe now has a little bit of Solana that her grandson gave her as a joke, she can now come into Soul Games and play with that, and it's a more seamless transition.
But won't even need the Solana either, because they could do the free to play games with advertising.
That too, that too. That too. Exactly. And then win cryptocurrency ultimately, which kind of onboards people that weren't in the space. So it's definitely going to be an interesting launch, and I think there's a lot of opportunity to evolve it. Even just from a technical standpoint, I'm sure Sash will agree the next phases are kind of moving from just online based to mobile, and then kind of fully integrating. I haven't seen a lot of apps to date that fully integrate, Phantom Wallet in app and kind of keep you all there within that experience. But we're building stuff that has that potential to become that.
I love that you guys always innovate. That's one of the reasons that I kind of fell in love with the Dazed Ducks. Um, and I remember when I would load your page, sometimes it would take a little bit, but I'm wondering what was it like being one of the first projects with like animated images? That was something special, opening up Magic Eden and seeing all the ducks kind of move. And I wanted to know what your thoughts were on that. What were you guys thinking? You're like, we're gonna blow this up. Was it easy? What kind of stuff went on with that?
It's still sending them all over the place, bro. They can't even still get it sorted. I spoke to them in detail about it actually this week, to our account coordinator. And I was telling her, I'm like, every other marketplace can do it except you guys, and we've done what we think we need to do on our end. What is it? Like, I know what the solution is. It sounds very simple to me. Just downscale the images before you load them. Like, why don't you build that across the board? Um, but they're gonna look into it, because that was actually a big undertaking for them. We had high res images and they were GIFs, and their system just couldn't handle it in terms of load.
But in terms of the actual GIFs themselves, Guava could probably speak on this a bit more. But it wasn't, the collection wasn't intentionally gonna be all GIFs to begin with, but then Guava, as he always does with in our core meetings, he teases like one animation, and then we go, "Oh my god, that looks so sick!" And then we're like, "All right." First, we're like, "Okay, we're gonna put that on a few ducks," and then we're like, "No, no, no! Every duck needs it," you know. So, which then gives Guava a lot of headache. But don't tease the fire, bro. Don't tease the fire.
Yeah, and actually, I was hitting on because when you first did it, I remember telling people like, just wait, let it load, because it was special seeing them all moving. I've been looking at the floor, but I didn't even notice that they don't move because I normally, if I really like when I open them up and see what the animation is, but I didn't even notice that they don't actually move now. But when they first dropped, I remember having to let the page load and then just watching them all move. I was like, dude, I'm in fucking Harry Potter right now.
It was just supposed to be the 25 legendaries that were going to have all the animation, but then Sean said, "What if we got all the ducks to be animated?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's a possibility. We have to animate some or if not a good amount of the attributes for that to happen." So said, so done, and then that's when we brought on Caitlin to help with some of the animation. She did like the minor stuff where she just made like things like flicker or bump or throb, you know, and that helped with a lot because a lot of the little eyes and the eye twitch and the beaks that twitch a little bit and stuff, and some of the other things like the Luna pipe and stuff, she added those animations to it. So definitely she was, and like just like Sash said, and then Zach said, we're still trying to pull her in, but I don't know, man, she's still not a 100% believer in NFTs and Web3 yet, which is really weird.
And I would say all of that animation was done without moving the deadline. So Guava and Caitlin were very much pushed up against the wall on that one.
Before I jumped on here, I was talking to Mulligan, one of our holders. He received the package of the samples and he was like, "Bro, the quality is so dope. It's so sick. It's so amazing." He's so excited. So that was really good to hear because we've been putting in a lot of hard work over, I think, a lot harder work than we expected.
The samples that he got, were they like his size?
Yeah, he said they all look like they should fit. They were a little wrinkled, but he's gonna get them dry cleaned before he shoots them. It's a huge process though, like to be honest, I've been in retail for a long time and my mom actually specializes in merchandise and apparel. She's doing all the apparel for this sailing week event that you saw our duck team racing in. And like even the quality that these big, events put out for their sort of like lines or apparel lines they drop for the event. She does a good job, right? But the quality is nowhere near to what I think we've put together with our collection. It really is, not just, easy drop shipped Alibaba suppliers. No, this is manufacturers in LA that are doing collections for Beyonce and celebrities, and they're like, really putting that level of detail into it. And Guava, you've done an amazing job working with Malcolm on getting these designs done, but I just didn't expect it to be this big of an undertaking. But I think everyone's going to be pretty satisfied. No one's feeling it more than Sean, though, because Sean's in charge of the finances.
Oh boy.
Me neither. I thought it was gonna be, we meet with him, we say a few things, tell him what we need here and there, and it would be done. But my God, it's like surgery. Seriously.
Bro, even using fiat currency, that's the biggest problem right now. Like trying to get everybody paid, it's such a process. Like if they took crypto, they would be paid immediately and be able to start working ASAP. But instead, they're like, no, we need a wire, and that takes 4 days to get out. It's like, come on, we're in the 21st century, guys. Let's start acting like the Jetsons.
But we're starting to convert them one by one.
And I did want to hit on the 3D ducks too. What do you guys think about that? And has it moved anywhere? What's that going to be like? Do you have any kind of outlook for us?
I mean, in some exciting news today, there's a pretty cool NFT game place that one of our holders that has been leading the 3D development reached out to, and they decided to integrate our collection with their gameplays. They created a character based off of one of the ones that we had that Guava designed that's not part of the collection, but they also created the holder's duck and integrated that into their game. So any Dazed Duck holder that also has the Unchained NFT, that's the name of the collection that built the game place, they can go in there and play as that Dazed Duck character. But that's kind of more micro. On a macro scale. It's still really up in the air in terms of how we deliver it. We're just still kind of figuring out the costs, the process associated, and the best strategy. But it's great to see that that the holders saw that potential and drove that effort so quickly that now the team is kind of figuring out how we integrate it versus getting the community to catch on.
I can't wait to use my duck in 3D, man. If I could use that in my portal, that would be amazing as an avatar.
Well, we've discussed a little bit. We had a huge lore session after we met with you, the first time after that first recording, and I think that's been very beneficial for a lot of us to at least kind of see the future, and how big this can really go and how everything has to tie into it. I mean, Guava's ideas blew me away and have me super excited on that standpoint. It's almost like we're building a Marvel universe.
Dude, you guys are constantly building. I love how how much you're willing to pivot, and that's so important in the in every space really, but the NFT space, it seems like if you can't pivot quickly, things die very fast compared to maybe normal business. So that's why I'm always been impressed with you guys, just hearing from you on spaces, and you guys are really really active. So I appreciate you being open and honest with people. And um, I think that we have been, or the Solana space has been changing kind of the culture of even NFTs and how they should be upfront and honest, and talk to their holders. So I really appreciate you guys always doing that, and that made me a Dazed Duck for sure day one, and just been buying ever since. So I really appreciate everything you guys are doing. What is it that the Dazed Ducks want to do and become?
We want to become the next Sanrio company, the next Hello Kitty, and the next Mickey Mouse, the next child Peanuts. What like we want to be the next big empire slash character brand, that's ever been. And through Web3, that's our goal.
Yeah, no, exactly like Guava says, is just hit that global brand scale, and having the core team here on the small island of Antigua, I think is something, at least personally, really special for me, seeing as the industry here in Antigua has always been primarily on tourism, and myself always been in this kind of online business world. It's always been a goal of mine to kind of show what's possible, and show what a group of people and a strong team can do, even from a small island.
We all kind of differ a little bit, but all go to the same goal of the global brand. I mean, coming from the technical standpoint, right, as you're holding, you see in the dashboard what we're building there, and the things we want to build out with that. So my excitement's based around the tech and how we can, once we get to the point where everything's running super smoothly, is branch out and have it as somewhat as a SaaS business as well, to be able to provide all that software that we've, especially on the dashboard side, where most of it is built from scratch, be able to provide that as a service for other upcoming projects. So I'm pretty excited about that, and just getting everything like well-oiled machine.
Yeah, that dashboard's really special. I love how you guys have the on-chain voting there. You've got your ducks. You can do high res pictures, all that stuff. What was it like creating that? Have you done that kind of stuff before, or was this kind of your first dive into this specifically?
In terms of Web3, it was a first. Done dashboards before, as I mentioned, for like financial industry and different bits and bobs. But for Web3, it's definitely a different challenge. And you can tell as a holder that sometimes things aren't working quite as you'd want them, or like Solana will go down. It won't be firing as well as we want it to, which will affect things. So it's definitely a learning curve and how we can make sort of code more efficient. But yeah, it was pretty exciting to do that. I know from the get go. I think it was Sean's idea to get the dashboard to begin with, um, which was really cool. And then I think we had a couple people literally like just copy it or like try to copy it. I haven't been on their DAOs, but try to do something similar since we launched that. I swear to God, I think these guys are listening to when I'm talking and just deciding to drive fast. I'm like, what's going on?
The racing brother.
But yeah, that was pretty exciting, and looking forward to what we have coming up. I mean, you would have seen it mentioned on one of our town halls before that we want to actually have the Duck Fund or Community Fund page built out so you can see where all the money is going in the Duck Fund, what those ventures are contributing back, um, and yeah, basically have a better picture so that any duck can log in and see what's going on.
You're creating a package that people can now have. There's so many people doing that, and you see people kind of copying them. But if you have something that you can provide to another community, especially with everything that you're already doing, soul gems, soul games, there's so many things to connect into the space with you guys. It's just you've got a lot going for you. So I really appreciate you guys taking the time to talk with me and come on to Soul Bros, and it was a good time talking to you guys.
Appreciate it, Ryfi.